guys, the peculiarity of the grift going on in their little system, that may be partially kind of organic, an exploitation of all sorts of lies and confusions and entrapments, is that each side of the overarching dynamic is anti-Jewish in different ways. Because the left is anti-nationalist, they are also anti-Israel. So the left, hey, what's up, nitwit? I don't remember if I've seen you on my chats before, like during Heidegger or something, or if I know you from somewhere else, but I know that I know you. Good to see you. So anyway, the left is very anti-Israel. They love the Jews. Like, that's not actually the issue, right? Right? But of course, they don't understand the relationship between race and nationality, and thus, the difference when it comes to that kind of, quote, nationalism. And then on the right, you will basically kind of notice that to them, anti-Semitism is anti-Israeli nationalism, right? If you are against the state of Israel, you're an anti-Semite. Or you are, if you're for the state of Israel, I mean, like, it's a little bit ridiculous, the duality of it all. Yeah, from Phoenix Enigma, kick-ass, man. I haven't heard from Corey and Alicia in a couple of months, and I'm pretty sure they haven't been doing anything. They haven't done their program, and I hope they get back to doing something. I know that that censorship and everything else threw it all into a loop, but I miss Corey and Alicia doing their thing. So shit. That was a dead, that looked like a giant possum or something in the road. And there was a car coming, and I didn't, like, it was already dead, but, like, you don't want to run over, like, a corpse. Like, it wasn't like a squirrel. It was like a big corpse. So I wanted to swerve just enough to miss him and not enough to be over the line. But anyway, at any rate, but, like, on the right, it's just like the Jew conspiracy thing is prevalent all over the place, right? But you see, for them, it's like the Jewish conspiracy involves a conspiracy against Israel, and they're trying to protect Israel from the same people that are spreading the, quote, Jewish conspiracy, even though the Jewish conspiracy is implicated in Zionism as a whole. And this is the mind of the right now, whereas the mind of the left is still kind of just overtly simplifying things of just like anti-nationalism at all costs, right? And they even look at Israel's decorum towards Palestinians in an equivalency to America's decorum to anybody south of Texas. And this is the concept. This is the reality, right? And all of it, like I don't know. I don't know if this shit with our immigration issues actually threatens our national, like, integrity. Just because I've been hearing about it for fucking 40 years. You know, like, I've been hearing about this shit since the 90s. Since the 90s at least. People have been talking about this shit with the border. It used to be like, you know, a mainstream fucking topic on, like, presidential debates. Was like the immigration issue. And back then the immigration issue was so indulged in fucking facts and figures of the whole damn thing. With some, you know, anecdotal measurements towards the human capacity thing, but it was largely a statistical issue. Right? And so we're dealing with all of this shit, and it's very weird the way everything gets reconciled, you know, especially when you look at the juxtaposition to the issue of the Ukraine, right? Because the Ukraine, of course, the Ukraine is kind of the same thing as the Israel situation, because it's Ashkenazic Khazarian tribes that a long time ago converted to Judaism and then just held true to their principle of it, especially by knowing it through its later translations, not knowing about what was lost in the occult mystery. People have this idea in their head that the Jews have been carrying their books with them from the dawn of fucking time, these scrolls. No, they lost it for a while. And it was reconstructed in the Greek period. Greek civilization gave the Jews back their stories in writing, right? The original documents being sourced. It's kind of like going over, like, the Poetic Edda, right? And knowing that the Poetic Edda, although great in written Old Norse, it's still written Old Norse. And you still, because of the difference, you lose something if you don't know how to read it from the heart. And I don't mean reading the reading. I mean reading what's orally being said to you from this place in your heart. Because this thing comes alive in a deep and intuitive way when you tap into yourself, when you tap into who you are, when you go for that gnosis, when you go into the blood, you go into the melanin, and you're tracing the roots of your mother and the roots of your father, going all the way back in the intertwined story of you, which doesn't involve the entirety of the world. I'm starting to see that although a great deal of migration starts at a certain point with the continuity of a bloodline of a certain tribe, but something as complicated as a whole tribe of human beings may in fact have true origins, not kind of evolving from someone else, if you will, but a form of spontaneous generation. I mean, that's an alchemical principle of looking at the origin of things, which is scientific but also very metaphysical and inherently spiritual. And spontaneous generation means that there is no root race, and there is no such thing as racial superiority. So spontaneous generation already solves a bunch of fucking problems. The only racial superiority there that there is if you make a choice. Like, if everybody just makes a choice, by, you know, your whole race kind of goes 100th monkey and decides to do a thing. And that probably doesn't really exist. But just saying for the sake of it, right? Because, like, I can't think of enough common ground between enough people. I mean, watching how common ground brought people together by 2020, and now we've all broken apart, killing whatever psychic connection was building something interesting between us, and now everybody's in their own isolated little things. And yeah, I guess it's an Age of Aquarius thing, allegedly, because of Pluto and Aquarius, that it goes down like that. But I don't really know how I really feel about that astrological assessment of the thing. What I do know is that for those of us that are, for those of us that are among the unconscious masses, they still, they're looking at their world dwindling, but they're holding on to it. Hey, what's up, Nick? But they're holding on to it, and it too is having its own, like, breakdown, right? It's breaking down too, just like the way these truth movement supercells that came up of alliances in 2020, then afterwards, as people refined their ideologies, splintered from each other. Or just enough time had gone by where something was finally revealed about someone's character, and it turned out to be not such a great quality, and you decided that you're not going to be supportive, and you're going to make a publication on social media saying, I am no longer supportive, right? And then making those divides happen. And, you know, for the longest time, I wasn't doing that. Now I've done that a little bit. Now, because of how I also have my personal effect of it. I'm not like these other guys where, like, every month I would tune in and, like, there'd be someone, they'd be, like, beefing with another alliance, and, like, now nobody's allianced with anybody. And I'm like, whatever. And at the end of the day, what I do understand and respect is that you gotta stand for some important principle. You know, that's why I made a choice to stand with, like, Balderson. Balderson made, his decision on Owen, right? But I didn't see it the same way on Balderson's decision on, like, James True, for instance, right? You know, and I respect James True. Say that, right? That's no secret. I just don't bring these things up in the Baldyverse or in the Crowverse. Not that I'm associated with Crow yet. Although I think at least Rose knows who I am at this point, even though we've never met. But anyway, I don't care. I don't give a fuck. Nobody has enough time. There's enough time to understand any of these fucking things, and so it's just easier to make enemies. That's what's happening in uh, Gaza and stuff. So nobody's got time for whatever that situation is over there. And it's not that we actually care, but just like everything else, if the media, forces to bring out where you're going to stand, you're going to yell and shout where you stand about things. Not that you actually want it to happen, but that you're going to go through with it if everybody else does want it to happen. You just got to say it. So they're not going to put in great effort to drop a nuke over Palestine, right? But they'll be right there voting for it if a vote gains legs. But at the very least, they're gonna make the threat. And isn't that just a fun level of psychosis to know that we all go through? But don't worry, you're supposed to be worried about the guy with the horns on his head, because he's the devil, allegedly. And I do have horns on my head. Fun. Aren't we fun? I'll catch you later.